Fats Domino and Buddy Holly and the rock and roll guys, they they took from that swing and that transitioned them away from they weren't transitioning from Glenn Miller. They're transitioning from Louis Prima. And another band to me that doesn't get any credit when they talk about the history of rock and roll. One band that was everybody talks about Elvis's original band, Scotty Moore and those guys. Greatness, and you talk about the Muscle Shoals guy, the Swampers, that rhythm section, Jimmy Johnson. But one band to me that really stands out that never gets any props is Buck Owens and the Buckaroos. They were a self-contained orchestra. They made their own records. They didn't need strings. They didn't need background singers. They had the perfect background singer. I think his name was Don Rich. And he played guitar. And he had the same exact twang to his singing voice that Buck did. And although Buck, I don't know if you ever heard this said, I'll say it right now. Buck Owens, he had a lot of face. His face was wide. And I wouldn't say it's a face that his mother couldn't love. But it was a man's face, a wide man's face. But with this background singing and the way they sang, the way they bent notes was so delicious. And they bent those notes together so well that it defined the sound of the band. So much so that the Beatles, not that they didn't copy other American artists, but who would think that they would like pick up on the deep comedy of what Buck Owens was doing. And there was a sense of humor to everything Buck Owens did, even the sad stuff. Check this out. I shouldn't be telling you the story, but a few years back, we were doing dates a lot on the clubs, and Skibo was doing sound for us. And Skibo knew we had weird musical taste, so he knew not to play normal shit on the PA before we would go up on stage. So he would always play cool stuff. So one of the coolest things he played would be Buck Owens' album. And he's playing a Buck Owens album and played an old Buck song that I hadn't heard in a long time. And it was a song called, and we're like, "Excuse me, I think I have a heartache." And when I heard him say it, I was just getting ready to go on stage, and I said into my mind, I says, "Oh my God, did Buck just sing, 'Excuse me, I think I have a heart on'?" And to this day, every time I think of Buck Owens, I think of, "Excuse me, I think I have a heart on." I shouldn't have said it. But funny shit, right? But Buck Owens and the Buckaroos were really what the Beatles and the Stones wanted to be, and were. What they wanted to be was self-contained. They wanted to play and sing and record that. And Buck Owens was doing it in country music outside of Nashville and was defining country music to me more than anybody. Because of the self-contained unit was so sharp and so pointed and direct. All the records sounded the same. The way they used the pedal steel always sounded the same. The rhythm section always sounded the same. The harmony singing, it was all this. It was the Buckaroo sound. And it was so major league that to this day, when I listen back, I always have to say, no way did Buck Owens get anywhere near the credit that he deserves for the music and the way he ran his band and the influence they had on other bands that ended up having maybe more success and got more recognition and more props than Buck did. But they did it on... Well, look, hey, Dwight Yoakam, he'd be the first to tell you. My whole thing is Buck Owens was sex appeal. I don't know if he says it that way, but I'd say it that way. Right? That Buck Owens sound, but you add the swag that Dwight brought to it. And Dwight was huge and still is. He's still a one-of-a-kind country act. Or could we call him a real music act? Wrote this not so long ago. And I wrote it because I was, like everyone else in our country, overwhelmed when we see what's going on politically, which are things I'm not interested in getting involved with. And I won't. It's not my place. It's not what I'm into. There's other people that do it. But let's do this. Let's just play a song that, for us all. Always one, one is all. That's how I'm looking at all y'all. Hey, let's find a way to open up our eyes so we can see inside each other's hearts. Let's find a way to open other ears so we can hear each other when we're talking, 'cause everybody's different, hey, but everyone's the same. We can all get along, let's find a way. Let's find a way to break down all the walls that we build up between each other. Let's find a way to lift each other up on each other's shoulders, 'cause everybody's different, hey, but everyone's the same. We can all get along, let's find a way. We're like leaves on the trees, like snowflakes and foam. We're like clouds in the sky, they look too the same. And there ain't no good reason why we can't do it if we try. We're all in this together, let's find a way. Yeah. Let's find a way to open up our eyes so we can see the player, not the game. Let's find a way to look within ourselves and stop looking for someone else to blame, 'cause everybody's different, well, but everyone's the same. We can all get along, let's find a way. Let's find a way to live together. We can make it better if we learn about each other. We're all sisters and brothers, and everybody's different, well, but everyone's the same. We can all get along, let's find a way. Let's find a way. Find a way, baby. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Delighted to be with you. If you are someone that tunes into our shows, may I blow you a kiss? I just blew you too. You open the door just a little crack, I'll come a sneaking in. That's what all us street artists, con artists, hunters do. We look for that crack in the veneer to try and sneak our way into your heart. We'll say what we got to say, do what we got to do, be who we got to be to get right next to you. Make you feel good. Well, how do we say it? From your nipples to your knees and what? All points in between. Whoa! That's just how we do. But if you're tuning in and tuning in on a regular basis, I want to thank you. And don't be afraid to type in stuff and say goofy shit to us. If you like a song, boy, we'd like to hear about that. Especially I would. It means a lot to me because the songs to me are what keeps me chasing in the game, trying to find songs, trying to find the perfect pieces of music that define our thoughts and our feelings, you know. Like since, you know, Child Little Tenderness, Otis Redding number. You know a song I dig? Fools Rush In. Ricky Nelson. When Ricky Nelson sang Fools Rush In with James, I think it was James Burton on guitar. It might have been. And but that song Fools Rush In, I think, was written in the 1940s with that 1940s sensibility of harmonic flow, which over the years got lost. And then by the time the 90s came around, like if you wrote music that made sense, you didn't make sense. You know what I mean? You didn't make a dime. Sense. You're lucky you made a dime. But anyway, I remember that 1940s sensibility, and it still means something to me. I was talking to my friend, that crazy bitch Sherry Richards, who I happen to love dearly. We've been friends for years. And I just wanted to tell you a little thing that happened between me and her that's so fantastic. Her and I were talking about a guy that we both knew, that she knew better than I did. And I said to her, I says, well, what's... And I'm starting to get to know this guy. And I said to her, I says, well, Cher, I says, what's this guy like? Is he cool? And she like looks at me and gives me this smile. And here's exactly what she said. And it broke my balls so hard. She goes like this. She says, well, she says, I'll tell you. She goes, he's so square. He tucks his shirt into his underpants. And when she said that, I just looked at her and I just went, you know what, bitch? You are out of sight. Just saying that tells me how cool you are. He's so square, he tucks his shirt into his underpants. You kidding me? Get the hell out. I'm coming over there. And that little line came to you right off the lips of Sherry Richards. Love it when she gets up with us. So me and you, yeah, we've had our ups and downs. You know, we've had our ups and downs. I'm in, I'm out. I'm in style, I'm out of style. I'm too loud, too soft. I don't talk enough. I talk too much. Come here, I'll give you a smack right on the shit can. Bang! That's fun. Did I ever tell you about the time I was talking to my buddy who lived on a farm? And he said, you know, they were always making jokes about having sex with the animals when they were teenage boys. Like in junior high, they started making it. And he said it was crazy. He says one day he was out in the barn. He was having sex with a cow, and his father walked in and saw him doing it. And he went, "Oh my God!" He says his father went right over to him and slapped him, knocked him down onto the ground. And he says then his father turned around and looked at the sheep and said, "I thought we had something special. I want my ring back." Are you kidding me? And my buddy says, my dad never mentioned it again. He says, we never talk about it. He says, but I'll never forget that happened. That one right there, I wrote that joke while I was taking my shower before I came here today. What'd you think? I thought we had something. I think Tom liked it a little bit. You know what they say about guys like me, though? They say, Norman, he wasn't good when times was good. Barry said, man, didn't know it was the juice. Man said, Barry, right, tell when the truth. Game on. Game on. Well, there's a lie being lived. Something gotta give. Game on. G said, Pete, you gotta come clean. You've been betting on the big red machine. Game on. Game on. There's a lie being lived. Something gotta give. Game on. Tom said, Roger, I did not deflate. Roger said, Tom, I can't let you skate. Game on. Well, game on. Hey, there's a lie being lived. Something gotta give. Game on. Jerry said, Joe, what I did to them kids wasn't right. Joe said it's all about the blue and the white. Game on. Game on. There's a lie being lived. Something gotta give. Game on. Well, hey! Juice said, Johnny, the glove don't fit. Johnny said, Jory, you must have quit. Game on. Game on. Game. There's a lie being lived. Something gotta give. Game on. The Donald said, I'm gonna build us a wall. Said El Chapo, we'll pay for it all. Game on. Well, game on. There's a lie being lived. Something gotta give. Game on. Bill said, Hill, I ain't no part of that mess. Hill said, Bill, you left the proof on her dress. Game on. Well, game on. There's a lie being lived. Something gotta give. Game on. Game. Play that liar's game. Play that liar's game. Play that liar's game. Play that liar's game. Game on. Well, how you doing? D-effin'-licious. My friend Bubs McKay, I call him Sugar Lips. He said he's been threatening to sing that number. And you know what? I says, you know what? You take them sugar lips of yours and put those words right between them, and I think it'd be fantastic. I gotta hear you singing it. Your little half hunky, half Mick. That's a good mix.
15 minutes.
Half Italian, half Irish. There's a lot of that shit going on in today's world. You know what I mean? Irish guys, Italian girls, Italian guys, Irish girls. You know what that is? Natch. It's a natch. It's a natural. Just really something that I don't know how to say it other than it's a natural. I don't know if I ever told you this. A few years back, we were hanging down at the Civic Arena. And we were hanging backstage, and it was at a Bon Jovi show. And while we were there, I started and I usually, know those guys, so I always knew who was be hanging around. It was whatever city it was in. It was always the same cast of characters. But on this show, I kept seeing these people, and I says, I know that person from somewhere. I've seen that guy somewhere. Who the hell was that guy? And then I figured it out. It was Steve Croft. You know who Steve Croft is, Tom? You ever watch 60 Minutes?
Oh,
that's
okay.
Steve Croft. 60 Minutes was there filming Bon Jovi backstage for a story on them that ended up coming out. But while they were there, we're hanging out backstage, and we're all sitting in this room just before the gig, and Johnny comes to the door of the room. The band and myself and some of the road guys were just bullshitting. Johnny comes in to the door, and he goes, "Hey," he says, "Duke," he says, "come here, I need to talk to you." I says, "What up?" So he takes me into this room, this empty room right next to the party room, and he says, "I got to ask you something." I says, "What's up?" He says, "You know how you do that routine when you talk about how you make love?" And because he had seen me do, I forget where in the hell we were, and he says, "Oh, I had done it for them when they were doing a show somewhere, and like I had said, the Tigers all put their hands together, and we do that tiger growl before we go on stage. Well, Bon Jovi did the same thing, and they would get together, and somebody would say a few words, and Johnny said, hey, when we do our little team meeting right before we go on stage, he says, I want you to do it, and he says, and I'm going to have 60 minutes film it, and he says, and when you do it, I want you to do that thing you do. He says, fire us up and bring us out. I says, thing? He says, how about how you make love? And I looked at him like 60 minutes is going to film it, but you want me to do it the way I do it. And he was like, that's what I want you to do. And I was like, it's your show, man. I'm in. So, like an hour or something goes by and everybody's getting ready and it's time to go on the show. And somebody comes and gets me and says, all right, let's do that thing. So we go out there, and the guys in the band are there, and Steve Croft is there, and the 60 Minutes Kramer crew's all there, and we all get in a little circle, and Johnny says a couple words, and then he says, all right, Dookie, he says, get us ready. And so I go like this, and I say, all right, guys, let's go out there on stage. I says, let's go out there and make love to this audience. And everybody knows that when we make love, we go in, and everybody in the band said it with me, face first, smacking our own ass, and then they all smacked their asses, and then they went on stage. And Steve Croft was standing there when this was going down, and a very nice looking lady producer of the spot, they were all standing there watching it. But it was so crazy to see that, and I knew when I did it that it was never going to get on TV because it was too hip. But Johnny wanted to have 60 minutes film it anyway. Is that cool or what? I kind of love that story. Yeah, because I had done it before. I think it was a show in Cleveland. Johnny says, hey, fire us up before we go up. And I said something about, well, that's the way I summed up the little speech, And I think the time that I did it before was the time backstage when there was this big handsome guy in this shiny blue sharkskin suit. He's walking around backstage. He must be 6'6", go about 280, big chest, shoulders back, walking all around the back room. And I said to Richie or somebody, I said, who's that guy? I said, what the hell is he doing back here? And Richie said, he's the commissioner of Arena League football, of the Arena Football League, and he's here courting Johnny. Because John Elway's trying to get Johnny to buy an Arena League football team, which he ended up doing. But the commissioner was backstage wolfing up, and I said something to him. I says, "Who's this big, handsome, good-looking guy?" And he gave me a look like he didn't like that kind of talk. How you doing? Once again, I couldn't be prouder of some of the stupid shit I've done and said, just because sometimes shit needs to be said. And so, because sometimes some people never hear anything that's real until you get them away from their element, because in their element, no one will tell them the truth or speak to them like they're just another person. And sometimes when, it takes a jerk like me to open up my big mouth and let it rip. Hey guys, this is Alone 10. So we have 20 plus 1. We have 21 hours of footage from our Alone series. We're going to keep it going. And we're excited about it. 2 hours. Tom and I just riffing here. And what we're doing, we've been taking a look back at the footage that we have. And we have some really cool stuff. We have some really magic moments that come and go. We have some times where somebody might want to reach, if you could, you'd reach through the stream and give me a choke or a slap because I deserve it. But basically what we have is some great footage and some great high-level bullshit that we're looking to do some new things with, and we're going to start slicing it up and delivering it to you in different ways. So keep your eyes open for these kinds of things, and keep us in your hearts and in your minds, because we're going to continue to do what we're doing here with this Alone series for a while yet. But we're going to keep our minds and hearts open for what comes next. Because we all know that I'm a band leader. That's what I've been most of my life. I was a band leader before I knew I was a band leader. And that's what it's going to come to. And that's what, as we move along, and the more success we can have with this. So if anybody has any ideas for ways to help us make this more successful, more accessible, reach more people, don't be afraid to let us know. Or if you hear things that you want me to talk about, voice in. Don't be afraid to communicate with us on Facebook about what we're doing and how we're doing it. Because, like I say, we're going to keep this going. The year's almost over, so we'll be here. And we're looking down the road, and we don't know what it is next. Because we don't want to not enjoy what we're doing now. We're in this moment. But we will move forward, and we will be incorporating other musicians when it's right. And hopefully the Norman Nardini Alone series can help us find better ways to reach more people and to accomplish more. Because once we start doing bigger production things, it takes more people and a budget, and things like that and shit like that. So that's what that's all about. But I think we're getting ready to wind down here.
You've got enough room for one quick song.
A quick little number. Well, let's do what we were doing. Joints jumping, pimps and hoes, but there's something missing till you show. It ain't a party till you get here. When you arrive, everybody get turned up. The joint come alive. You make my blue disappear. It ain't a party till you get here. Spilling out into the parking lot. Inside the joint, it's too damn hot. It ain't a party till you get here. When you arrive, everybody get turned up. The joint come alive. You make my blue disappear. It ain't a party till you get here. I hope I made myself perfectly clear. It ain't a party till you get here. When you get here. 10, 10, 10. 10 toes, 10 fingers. Blowing kisses at you. Get the hell over here, you little monkey. I'll give you a nipple tweak. uh,